So we're now going to do the fun bit, which is adding all of the elements. As you can see, we have our many layers here. Now we're going to go to our background layer, because if you remember on Jover's work, you look here, he uses paper that looks quite old, and we can do that ourselves. We can use old paper, and I've shared some in your folder, so you should have downloaded some. So if we do File, Open, and on our Jover file we've got some aged paper. Unfortunately I haven't named them right, so we've got them all over the place. So I'm going to use this one called Ephemera, which is some aged paper. I've also put in some other ones which you need to stretch the backgrounds. Actually, let me show you how to stretch a background. So I'm going to use this one. You just look at the icons to know what you're looking for. So open it. Now we're going to pull that using the Move tool onto our experiment. Remember, we're going onto the Jover experiment. So we're going to drag that and we're going to drop it on that bottom layer. Look, it's underneath. Now if I move it up here, if it comes to above, look, it's there. So you need to just drag, left click, and drag it to below layer 1 above the background. Now I'm going to stretch this out. It's got old photo corners on it, which I quite like. So you're going to do Edit. While you're on that layer, make sure that layer is grayed out. Layer, Transform, Scale, and you'll get your handles. And you can stretch it out. Remember, if you just go by the corner, it's just going to stretch it with its original dimensions. Just want to pull that bit down. There we go. Just want to pull that bit down. Now, as you can see, we've still got this whiteness around here. Okay, there is one way of clearing that up. We're going to go to the top of the head. We're going to zoom in, Control plus. Okay, maybe not that much. And I'm just going to get the magic wand and clean it up. Just not magic wand, magnetic lasso. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. So with the magnetic lasso tool, I'm just going to go round and get those edges. The magnetic lasso tool is like a magnet. It clings to the edges. Now remember, we're doing this how he would have done it, which is cutting it out with a pair of scissors. So it's not got to be perfect. So you just draw around. This is really boring, but I wish I could speed it up, so I'll do it quite quickly. Doesn't have to be perfect, because remember, as I said before, he did it with scissors, so we're doing it essentially with scissors. So we're just doing it on that bit. Doesn't matter if you go all the way around like that. We just want to get the white bit, connect up to your beginning, press enter, so you get the marching ants and backspace. And there you go, Command D to get rid of the marching ants, or Control D, and we've got rid of those white bits. Okay. Another thing you can do is go through with a rubber. So if you want to get a rubber, just make sure you're on that layer, and you can just clean up some of the white bits there, like that. Okay. But just to get rid of that kind of white edge, which is a bit distracting. All right. So now we've got our old style background layer. We've got our face. We're going to essentially put most of our shapes on layer 5, which was the last layer we put on, but it's just above the background layer. We're going to put it on top of this paper. All right. So I'm now going to get rid of my paper that I've got there, because I don't need that anymore. We don't want this being very distracting along our bar here. Okay. I'm keeping the transparent there, because I may decide I want to take more parts of his face off, which sounds a bit strange. So I'm just going to get rid of the marching ants there. But I'm going to get rid of this now, because I don't need this anymore. Okay, so we've only got 2 things on there. I'm going to do File, Open, and looking at all your Jover files, you're going to pick something to go in the background. Now this is where you get to be creative. I quite like these geometric circles, so I'm going to pick one of those. I'm going to click on my Move tool. Now, when it's very thin lines, you have to make sure that your Move tool is on the thickest part, or you zoom in to get the thickest part. Hold down your Move tool and you can see it's now moving. You drag it to your experiment and you drop it. Okay? Drag it and drop it. and we can move it around to where we want. Now I want that just about circling that eye there. I like that like that. And I'm going to press enter, and I'm just going to click on the layer above just to enter it. So we've got that now. I don't need that again, so I'm going to remove it. Let's open up something else. File, open. And I quite like this red circle. So again, don't click on the white on the transparent bit because nothing's going to happen. Make sure you've got your move tool selected. Click on one of the larger bits and move with your left and drop. Now that's too large, way too large. So I'm going to do edit, transform, scale. And I'm going to transform the size of that. Now if it goes up into the corner, just pull it down. There you go. You can just pull that down there. And just make that a bit smaller there. Like so. Now I've decided I probably don't like this bit very much, so I'm going to make it a bit smaller. I'm going to transform the scale. I'm going to make that a bit smaller there, like that. Okay, so now is just about adding your bits. Now if you want to add triangles like I did before, go to the triangle tool here. You've got your triangle tool there, you go to your fill, and you pick your colours. So RGB colours, got very simple ones there. You can click here, the colour picker up here, to pick different colours. So I'm going to go with the red that I've got here. So I'm going to click on the colour picker. As you can see, you get a little eye drop. I want that red. It picks it on there. Okay. And now I'm going to draw my triangles, like so. Okay. And then the move tool to move them. I'm going to move those under his eyes like that. And I'm going to do another one, the same colour, under this eye. I'm going to do it a bit bigger. Click on the move tool. Move it under his eye like that. You don't have to do this. This is just what I've chosen to do. Okay, so I quite like that. I'm going to go for some more shapes now. I'm going to do, oops. I'm going to do file, open. And I'm going to add something with a bit more texture. So looking at, I'm going to pick this image here. Now I don't want that shape. I'm going to click here, left click, get the elliptical marquee tool, draw a circle, as much as I can get a circle. If you look at the width and height, it will tell you when you've got it as a circle. Both numbers should be the same, which I am very, very bad at, as you can see. Nearly there. I know I need to do, that's it. So there's an exact circle. And I'm going to drag that, drop that onto my experiment here. Now, I want it over his forehead. There. I'm going to edit, transform, scale, and drag that up like that. And I want that to go there. I'm not sure if I like it, but I'm going to stick it there for now. Then I want some flourishes. Again, delete anything you don't need on your bar up here, because you've got a lot of layers to deal with. You don't want a lot of other things. What you can do is name your layers. If you can't see them clearly, you can name your layers. So I could do layer 1 is forehead. I could do layer 2 red circle if I wish. I'm quite good at following layers, so I'm not going to do that. But if you find it hard to think about where your layers are, you can rename each of your layers just by clicking on them, double clicking on them, and renaming them. So bottom of face. There we go. Now let's pick some flourishes. So file, open, and I'm going to pick some swirly flourishes. I'm going to go for this one. Now I don't want it facing that way, because at the moment it's facing to the right. So I'm going to do edit, transform, flip horizontal, and it flips it on the horizontal for you. There you go. I'm going to stick that. And I'm going to have that. And I want that behind the lower half of his face, so I know the bottom of his face is there. I want it there. And I want to change the scale, so edit, transform, scale. I'm just going to change the size of it here. There, like so. Now I want it also up here, and I don't want to change the size of it again, and I don't want to do all that again, so I'm just going to do layer, duplicate layer. I want to duplicate that layer. It comes up as a copy. We're going to move it up. There you go, you've got 2 copies of it. Now I'm going to turn it around, so I'm going to do edit, transform, rotate. If I go on the corner, I can rotate it there. And I think I want it coming out of that black bit there. Press enter, and there it is. So this is now down to you. I've shown you how to do all the different elements. I've shown you how to move things around. I've shown you how to add flourishes and different shapes. So although to me this isn't finished, I would still need to do some more to it. I'm going to show you how to save it. So as you can see, we've got lots of layers here, lots and lots of layers. I expect you to possibly have more layers than that. Remember, you're using Jover's techniques, but doing it in your own style. So we're now going to save it. We're going to do layer, flatten image. Now we have 1 layer. We can't do any moving about of the image now, apart from that. Okay, we move it all as 1 image. So we're going to do file. And you've got to save as now, because remember we had it as an experiment. And we're going to change it from PSD to JPEG. Still going to be Jover Experiment 1, but we're now saving it as a JPEG because we need to put it on our workbook. And save. I'm going to set the maximum size. And then you're going to put it onto your workbook because you know where to find it. So well done. Have some fun experimenting in the style of Loui Jover. I can't wait to see everything that you create in the style of Loui, using Loui Jover's techniques. So off you go.